to the KDFL Dynasty Football Podcast. It's the Dynasty Podcast with the league to follow along with. I'm Brett Steele, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Jonathan Detroit Haynes and the zenful Matt Smith. And boys, NFL Week 5 has come and gone, so we're going to go over that. We got some interesting hypothetical situations to talk about, as well as we're going to do a little player evaluation for another week. Those seem to be a pretty popular segment. So with that being said, let's start with Thursday night, and it started off hot with the Bears putting it on the Commanders 40-20, and this was the DJ Moore game, 230-3. My question to you boys as we get this episode rolling, do we see, I mean, obviously this is an outlier, this made points, but do we see this as a turning point for the Bears offense, or do we see this as an outlier type game?
Well, I don't think they could play any worse than they could the first three games. But DJ, that's back-to-back 25-plus points out of DJ Moore. Fields had monster games. I think he's had 30 points plus in back-to-back games. But I always think the Bears are going to be behind anyway. So for them to do anything, Fields is going to have to run around and just chug it. So I can see them still putting up decent fantasy points.
The Bears were up big the past 2 weeks, just so you know, Detroit.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, my bad.
They blew it 2 weeks ago. I figured they would have another big bounce back. Now, that was a correct prediction. DJ Moore was a monster. Justin Fields, greatest could be. I've been saying that all along, that he'll be in the league for years to come, and looks amazing. But no, until he wins, it doesn't matter. They beat the Commanders, which are nobody, but he's 5-24 career record. So.
6 now. This is the most famous win-loss record that we'll never forget. We just witnessed win number 6, like we talked about.
I Googled it today. Apparently, Google was not updated. So,
I just because of how we talked about, I feel quite sure that this was win number 6 because how much we talked about him being 5 and whatever.
It is.
So long.
It is his win. It's definitely win number 6.
That was 7 days ago. The 5-24.
There we go.
So
the only thing this is nitpicking, a 230-yard 3-touchdown game, but well, I say that one, like the last one was a gamble coverage that he just took to the house that the guy missed, but he also got one call back that they say he stepped out on, and he didn't. So that's 2 weeks in a row we've had I didn't actually step out and you called it. On the other side, that was awful. That was so bad. When they never even try to show you if he did or didn't. There's some covering up there. I still am not sure. It was a tale of two halves for Sam Howell. He ended up with a very nice fantasy performance of north of 30 points. The first half was, like I said, awful. He looked pretty lost. I don't know if this is the long-term answer in Washington. Where are our leanings right now with Mr. Howell?
Go ahead, Matt.
I think the guy looks incredible at times. He's super young, though, but he is, I don't know. It seems like sometimes they cannot tackle the guy. He seems very, very tough. I'm impressed by him. I think if they actually give him some time, I think he'll be pretty good. I mean, he just seems like, I don't know, super tough, crazy at times. But, I mean, he's also super young. It was his second year. He didn't play any last year.
Yeah, he's 23 years old.
Pretty much his rookie year. I think he looks pretty good. But hopefully they give him a chance and don't change the coaching staff and all that.
Looking at his 5 games so far this year, he's thrown for over 290 yards 3 times. He's only had one game where his completion percentage is under 65%. So he hasn't played bad. He had that bad game against Buffalo. But, I mean, it's still early. I mean, he looks a lot better than some of these rookies going this year. So
if you're a middle contender and you can – if you're a middle of the road, not quite sure if you're a contender, say you're around 500, maybe 1 or 2 games over, and you could bail out for Kirk Cousins right now, would you do it?
If you're what? Middle
like
tier
you're
team?
middle of the road. You're like a 8 to 5 seed. 7 to 5 seed. Let's do that. Let's tighten that up a little bit. You can bail
I
out for
think the
Cousins
only
right
team
now.
that makes sense to trade for Cousins right now is the Jets.
Wow.
But because he's on his final year.
Well, I
So
meant fantasy
I'm
wise.
sorry.
Oh, fantasy wise.
Yeah, I
Oh,
meant a
okay.
fantasy team. I'm sorry, I meant a dynasty fantasy team. I should have clarified that.
So what's the question? I was thinking
You're like
NFL.
5 to 7 seed. You're in the middle of the thing.
Yeah.
You have Sam Howell.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
bailing out for Cousins
yes.
right now. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's the
absolutely.
question. That's if you believe in his long-term future, you don't do that.
I don't know necessarily. He did just lose Justin Jefferson, and they say it's 4 games. But if the Vikings are 1-7,
I
the
think
Vikings are in
it's
tank mode. They're in tank mode. He's not coming back anytime soon. And that looked like a small injury. And then the comments online were like, "Well, we're just going to let him rest as long as he possibly needs to." I'm like, okay, just like, is he even injured? But they put him on the 4-game, like, been super.
Yeah. That's all I had on the Thursday game, but we can transition right to that right now because Cousins is on there. We can jump ahead to that because that's the big story right now. Is all signs point to they're going to try to move him. Like, here's the thing, this is from all accounts, he's going to the Twins game, sitting in the middle of the people. This is just a common, normal dude. So I think when you think about that, he has the no trade clause. He has to waive it. And I think I think that will stop the deal to the Jets. I think it could, because that is clearly a situation where it's a rental. That's the most rental situation of all the ones that I've seen. And I think if it means uprooting the family or causing like distress like that, I think he'll veto it. I don't think he'll do it.
And what if the Steelers traded for him? Looking at the standings.
I think. Well, let me put it this way: it's going to take a trade for and a contract. He's going to want the promise of a contract. That's an ugly 3-2.
And it is ugly, but they are 3-2.
They are.
Has Pickett sold anyone on a long term? I don't think Pickett's sold anybody yet so far on the future.
But the thing that Pickett has is he gives you the movability of the rookie contract. Cousins will not give that team that. The Packers,
the Falcons. The
Falcons. I mean, the only thing is, this is dumb. Okay, this is dumb. This is a Brett brain. I can't picture him in a Falcons uniform. It just doesn't look right to me. I don't see him wearing like the red and black and the all black. I know that's dumb, and he would obviously be an upgrade. Hey, let me say something. We're not going to dwell on this. Ritter looked good, 325 yards and a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, led the comeback drive, looked poised, no sacks, no interceptions.
Build the statue. Build it now.
The only thing I'll take from it is that it's good to know it's in there. We're just talking about Pickett. Haven't seen that from Pickett. We don't know if that's in there for Pickett, that volume style game. I haven't seen it. No. It's nice to know it's a possibility. And we'll just go on from there with our easy schedule, and we'll see what he develops into. But that's the only thing I have on Ritter's beautiful game that he had. And Van Jefferson brought in, which I thought was weird until I read that Van Jefferson is one of the best blocking wide receivers in the league. And I was like, oh, okay, we're back. We're not doing it. I was like, oh, we're going to try to open it up a little bit more. No. He's just a fabulous blocker, and there's no risk.
He's currently a river rat if you'd like him.
Yeah. You want me to add another Falcons? I'm good at one Falcons pass catcher on the Mega Powers. Thank you. Well, I'm flowing from game to game. We're not I just brought the Falcons. Let me bring up CJ Stroud, the Texans. That was the game they played. The only question I have for you guys on the Texans and CJ Stroud, it's a clear thing of the no interceptions. It's a huge deal. This episode's gonna be full of Brett Big Brain overthinking. Are the lack of interceptions a problem?
You fans are lucky.
Fans are like, the lack of interceptions a problem for the fact that he doesn't open it up. He doesn't, which by the way, he should have had a couple in this last game, at least one that Jesse Bates dropped. But when does that go concerning? Like, oh, you don't take risks.
I don't think it's concerning. I think that's probably their game plan right now. Get them experience. As the season moves on, I'm sure they'll start opening up more. I mean, that's just how I would see it. You're not just going to let them sling it from day one.
Yeah,
I
it's been
wouldn't
I
done
want to see
before.
how he. I want to see how he plays this Sunday. It's a legit defense.
I mean, he just went up against the number 5 passing defense in the league. All right. Had 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
He did look incredibly poised. I will say that he didn't seem flustered. So I mean, I just for fantasy purposes, you want a stat filler, and that could be an issue if he never takes risk. Obviously, the interceptions will come. I do kind of think he needs to just chuck one, just to get that off, so nobody's watching that.
But I mean, if you drafted him, which some people passed on him, and we don't want to talk about who did that, but you're not going to want to trade him anyways. So you're going to stash him and hold on to him.
What if
right?
you have a Mahomes and a Hurts, and you don't have much running back
Well,
depth?
yeah, you're still going to hold on to him because
I know.
one of those quarterbacks might get hurt, and then
Okay.
you trade one of them.
All right.
I mean, I don't know what people are willing to give up after a 5-game sample. Yeah. I mean, I guess people give up absolute crap for mediocre picks, so could be a lot.
A certain team out there that won't be named, I'm sure they offer
your
up a
mic
nice
keeps
package.
messing up on
Keep
my
your
end.
mic close to your face.
Yeah, it's
I
messing
can
up.
hear it. You take a little bit to come in for some reason.
Yeah.
Any better?
Nope.
Not good.
You come in eventually. I don't know if it's a depth issue or what. You come in eventually, but
the beginning is very quiet.
Yeah, just know that we're not going to hear your takes until about 3 seconds in.
Let's see if I unplug it and see what happens.
Okay, well, we heard as predicted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's perfect. You could be doing it the whole time.
I guess so.
Without looking like a telemarketer, you could have been doing. No offense, Matt. You could have been doing this the whole time.
I don't care. I tried to not use it last week. Mine wasn't good.
He sounds crystal clear. This is staying in.
This is staying in?
No, it's all staying in. Telemarketer is the first example, the first clue. Because it's so Detroit. Is this any better?
My bad.
You're good. But I do think those are the type of gambles. I know you said what somebody could give up, but those all-in moves are the type of gambles that pay off or ruin your team. Those gambles are necessary for the championship team, I believe.
Oh, they haven't been working out for me, so I don't know.
No, I mean that's why it's a gamble. That's why it's a gamble. Okay, Detroit. Let's take a journey to Detroit for this game here. Really isn't a ton on the Lions fantasy side. Laporta did his thing again.
Golf had a huge day.
But I mean, it's not.
He had 4 total touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing.
So, nothing of the unexpected. I mean, this has become more like Laporta scored, Montgomery scored. Golf had an efficient, good game, and
yeah, I mean, Montgomery is definitely looking a lot better with the Lions than he did with the Bears.
And did you see the comments today? I don't mean to cut you off. Did you see the comments?
No.
Oh, Dan Campbell. All the Gibbs shares. All the people with Gibbs. I have him in the league as well. He referred to Montgomery as the workhorse, and it was like a shot to the heart of all the Gibbs shares.
Yeah, well, whatever. What I would like to talk about this game, though, is Bryce Young.
Yes.
He did have, I mean, everyone saw the highlights if you didn't watch it. He had 1 really bad interception. But I tell you what, this was the first game that I've watched of him since he is a River Rat that he actually had some nice throws down the field.
That's what my notes are.
His offensive line is not very good, so he is getting a lot of pressure on him. But another thing I didn't know, but did you know Adam Thielen is like a top 10 wide receiver right now?
Adam Thielen Adam Thielen is the epitome of hold your nose and play this guy week in, week out.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, I was shocked when I was looking that up.
Yeah. But yeah, Bryce Young had a quiet 3 touchdown game. Is what I called it.
Well, were they not getting killed? I hate this. They were getting
well,
killed.
It
No,
counts
I
the
was
same.
talking
Is what I'm
throughout the
saying.
game. He had some nice
It counts the
throws.
same, but I don't know how you say when you're judging a QB, they're losing. What I thought it was like 45-10 or something at one point. I don't know what it was.
Out of
It seemed like it
that.
was a blowout. It was a blowout. I thought
Oh,
it
yeah,
was.
it was a blowout.
So, and then,
But-
oh man, this guy looks great when the defense is not even doing a damn thing. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, oh yeah, he had some good throws in the fourth quarter when they were down by 28. Cool.
I'm not talking about
Good
the
to
fourth
see.
quarter. I thought throughout the game he had some nice throws. But like I said, he doesn't have the talent around him. I thought this was the first game that he made some plays.
We're talking about him playing Adam Thielen, and Adam Thielen putting up numbers. Wide receiver 10 on the year. Adam Thielen.
I
It
mean,
was 28-10 at half, and then the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
both teams scored 14. So I don't know what
Right.
it was.
Right. I mean, it's
With
definitely
that said,
garbage
I'm
points,
saying-
but it's a daggone fifth game or fourth game for
I
him.
mean, he is the third. He's number 3 right now of the 3 quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks.
I don't know.
But I'm just saying, everyone's like, he's a bust. He's a bust. I was like, calm down. It's 5 games.
Yeah.
He's very
Now-
small.
Yeah, I'll agree.
that's just what it comes back to. Hey, he is tiny.
Yeah.
Detroit. All right.
Yes.
I don't want to do this. But I have to do this. Everything's happy in Detroit right now. Okay. As it should be. Great team. You saw this in the doc, the coaching discussion. Do you have any clue what I'm about to suggest they might need to do?
No.
With this shirt I have on right now of this team and what happened. Okay.
Talking about the offensive coordinator.
Yep. Is there a this is gonna be nuts. Is there a possibility that the best thing to do for the Lions' success is to move on from Dan Campbell and promote Ben Johnson to head coach?
No.
I'm
You
telling
can do it. I understand what you're saying, and I do believe that Ben Johnson is one of the main reasons.
he is gone next year if you don't.
Right.
Gone.
But if you were to do that, you would lose the locker room.
The locker room would be a problem.
Yeah. So you can't do that.
I
know what
lose
you're saying,
fans
though.
too. That guy would be in a lose-lose situation the second he starts losing. I mean,
Yeah.
it just.
What do you
I don't know.
I'm worried that's what happens to Dan Campbell when he goes, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now
Oh,
everything's not Falcons. Dan Quinn wasn't as loved as MCDC is. Yeah, as MCDC is. Don't get me wrong, this guy is beloved, and he feels like he was made from Detroit. I don't even understand it, but I don't look at him and see some X's and O's genius. I don't see he's known for fourth or blundering decisions sometimes.
Yeah,
and Ben
I'm with
Johnson.
you.
The media would destroy the Lions for getting rid of.
I would not care if it works. If it works, it's a humongous gamble. It sounds insane to even say, but imagine that we let go of Dan Quinn and promote Kyle Shanahan.
That sounds like the Raiders trading away John Gruden in 2001 and getting their asses kicked in the Super Bowl the next year because they didn't need him.
The idea of comparing Ben Johnson's offense right now to what John Gruden's offense looked like.
Well, the Raiders had a MVP QB Rich Hanna back in the day, and they were
have a fire
dominant.
offense.
So you can screw yourself.
They did. Way to PG it up at the end.
Yeah. They were great. Get rid of the head coach. We don't need him. And the past 20 years has been crap.
Now, there is also the theory. I mean, there was a world before Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson comes along. So other offensive minds can come along. Like, I get that. One thing about this whole scenario, because they say never hire a defensive guy as your head coach. And Dan Campbell is an offensive coach, is he not?
Well, I mean, he played tight end, I guess. Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's all I'm going off of. I don't really know his coaching background. There's a tight end coach.
Pretty sure he was,
right, too?
Pretty sure he was been tight ends coach.
I feel like if you ask people, they would say he's a defensive coach just because he's huge and muscular.
Yep.
I don't know that that's the case, but people say this like, if you hire a defensive guy and get a good offensive guy underneath him, you're going to lose the offensive guy anyway. I don't understand why that's not the same on the defensive side. Like, what if my defense is great because of my coordinator and you know what I'm saying? I don't understand why that seems to be a one-sided argument. And I felt Grace even suggested it, but I just wanted to, because everything's going great in Detroit. And I feel like this guy is a key reason. And it's almost impossible for me to say no disrespect to Dan Campbell when I say let go of the leading head coach of the year candidate batting average right now. Like, I can't even say no disrespect because there's obviously some accidental disrespect.
That's a big brain. That's a big brain thing.
I just remember everybody in the world knowing it's not. I can't go as far as to say it's dumb. Because I just remember everyone in the world knowing that Kyle Shanahan was running everything in Atlanta, and he was gone, and he went. And
if we
maybe you just don't bring in Steve Sarkisian, and you're okay.
If we ran a poll, if this is dumb or not, I guarantee we're getting 95% saying yes.
I think 99%.
Okay, that's fine.
You don't. I mean, he is the leader of men. Like Dan Campbell.
That is the only thing. That's the main.
To every otother coach in the league right now. He is like a certified badass.
That is the 1,000,000% difference. I mean, players love Dan Campbell, but this is a different level. I fully agree. That to me is the humongous problem with the argument is the locker room and the fans. But those fans will turn quick if he can't keep the offense at a high quality. If Ben Johnson really is that important to it, that's the only thing I'm saying. That was fun. God, that was one of my big hypotheticals. That was one of my big ones that I wanted to get through. All right. I don't have a lot more in the 1 o'clock games. Anthony Richardson, I think this is going to be what we deal with him, injuries. I think it's going to be, me and Matt talked about it, the mega powers are always going to have to roster 3 QBs because it's the only positive, this sounds dumb to say, I'm just rattling off the dumbness today. I'm just going to write dumbness, clue number 2. The only positive is the first one was a knee, the second one was a head, the third one's a shoulder. So it's not like a repeat. It's not a repeat problem. So I think he's going to be down for quite a while. I'm guessing 6 weeks. I know it's 4 to 8, so I'm just splitting the difference. But he's killed his rookie of the year chances. That's done. And with the Colts, we can talk about Anthony Richardson, but it feels very weird that you give the money to Jonathan Taylor after Zach Moss was going off, thus proving why you don't need to pay Jonathan Taylor, and then you still pay him.
Right.
And then Zach Moss still goes off. So it's pretty ironic. Is there a case to be made that Zach Moss is the better play from here on out this year? I know long term it's going to be Jonathan Taylor, no doubt about that right now. But this year, or do you think it continues to? Do you think Jonathan Taylor takes it back?
I think it immediately takes it back.
Yeah, immediately. I do too.
I mean, he was out. He was injured supposedly for the first 4 weeks. So he's not going to be a workhorse week 5, but I can see Jonathan Taylor getting the bulk of the work week 6 and on.
Yeah,
the rest of the year.
I agree with that. And maybe the Colts just have a really good offensive line. I mean, because Moss has never shown anything like this.
I will see firsthand this Sunday in Jackson.
You're right. We're talking about the running back 6 on the year right now. By the way, just setting him, just being done.
Not done, but he's not going to be the number 1. He's going to be 1B. Jonathan Taylor will be 1A.
Does he get 40% of snaps? Or you think Jonathan Taylor gets more than 60?
It's like the whole league now. I mean, almost every team is 60% like that. I don't know. I think by the end of the year, he won't be getting 40% of the snaps as long as Jonathan Taylor stays healthy. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is clearly more talented than Zach Moss.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. Obviously. Is there any New England Patriot that you would like to play now? Player? No.
I don't think I've ever wanted to play New England Patriots in the past 20 years. So
it is bad.
That's a big no.
It's so bad.
Dude, is it bad or are the Saints just dominant?
Oh my God. It happened back-to-back weeks.
Last week too. I know.
Jones has back-to-back negative points.
Oh,
in
wow.
fantasy. That is sad.
I don't know if that's happened. I mean, I'm sure it has, right? Some terrible. Not, but okay, it has. I don't know if it's happened with a QB that you would start both weeks.
Well, I'm pretty
Before.
sure the gamblers have been starting them. I think.
No, I mean, he in the dynasty, in
I
the
mean-
deep dynasty league, Superflex, he's going to get started. I mean, it's not unfeasible to think he gets a start.
He's benching them this week.
Yeah, for who?
Mims, the wide receiver.
No. You ruined my thunder there. Who's at the top?
Oh, Desmond Ritter. Sorry,
Hey!
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Saints, who the Saints have this upcoming week?
Texans.
Texans in Houston. So that will be that is a very interesting game for both sides.
Well, hey, what about Kamara? His 2 games back, he's had 18 and 21 points.
It's been great.
Yeah. It's because what's his average depth of catch? I'd love to know. It's negative.
We're talking about fantasy. So
I mean, it's true.
Oh, he looked good. I mean, the whole Saints team. I was saying this. The Saints team. It was the Patriots. The Patriots are terrible, but I think the Saints are going to be. I don't think it's going to be close this weekend. I think this CJ Stroud. If CJ Stroud comes out and beats the Saints, I'll start praising him some. But I do not think he's going to have a good game this week.
This is the game full of your biases, though. This is your team that you're rallying for versus the QB that you didn't have any faith in. This is not fair to either one of these people.
The offense has not been clicking. The offense clicked big time on Sunday.
Did it click?
They scored 34 points in like the third quarter.
The defense went insane.
The defense scored 1 touchdown. Carr was playing great. All their receivers were playing great. Olave dropped a touchdown that should have made it 41-0.
That's a weird.
Who watched the game? Who watches the Saints game? Who watches the Saints?
I mean, these glasses that you're watching on. These glasses that you're watching with them on. He had 183 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Great. The Saints.
Olave had 2 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown.
And he had a 40-yard touchdown that he dropped. At the very end. Like, it was a catch. And then he somehow dropped it. Saints looked great. They did.
Well, I mean, we're just talking
down with some Taysom Hill, though.
We're just talking past each. I mean, I'm sitting there yelling about the Saints being bad in a Falcon shirt with Carr. I mean, we're just talking past each other's biases right now.
I'm not. Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
We will see in all the Stroud.
It is a great test. I will agree. It's a great test in Houston. Because Houston did put it on the Steelers. Remember?
Down a little bit.
The Texans did put it on the Steelers 2 weeks ago. Now we have on our last 1 o'clock game. I said I didn't have much, and then I had a lot more. Last 1 o'clock game.
Point out one thing. The Jags, soon to be 1 seed, beat the Buffalo Bills. So that's it. That's all.
I did skip over Houston because we went to Cousins. You're right. Or no, sorry, London because we went to Cousins.
Jacksonville. That was 9:30. Beautiful and breakfast.
Yes,
Jags beating the Bills, and they kicked their ass. Really, they were killing them. Again, the Jags cannot close out on offense, but they were beating them pretty badly. The Bills got that late touchdown score, but it wasn't close. Bills were stupid with their traveling, but the Jags were good.
Did you see where people were like trying to use the excuse they didn't fly in until like Friday?
Well, that's
their own.
That's a stupid decision.
Yeah,
why would they do that? I don't.
That's their own thing.
Bills are so frustrating to watch sometimes. They're so I don't know. They can be so dominant and then
you could see it at the beginning. It's just they don't like in London. I feel like what you see at the beginning. I mean, they'll come out of it a little bit, but these London games, especially with the teams that haven't been over there long, you can see the sluggish. Like, oh, this is what this is. They just don't have it. I'm tired of Diggs, by the way. Get him out of there. I'm tired of it. Like it's every time. Like you're so featured. You're dominating. You're dominating, and you're just still throwing a fit all the time. Like I'm just tired. Like just go to the Commanders and live out the rest of your days. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm just tired of it, dude. The Steelers game. Let's talk about the Steelers real quick. Not a ton to talk about. It's a very ugly game. Lamar Jackson was let down by his wide receivers. Drop after drop after drop. But George Pickens, he's in master, and he is our player showcase this week because he did have another very good game. Let's see, wide receiver 14 on the season. Yes, 2 big games north of 20, a game at 11, then a stinker of 8 points and 5 points is what he's got on the season. So I know Matt's had a tough time trying to value him. I have some potential trade candidates for George Pickens, and I want to know if any of these, I have 4 right now, and I don't know if you're going to do any of the 4. It's very interesting. Superflex League. Okay. Detroit as well. You. Let me start with the first one. Jackson Smith and Jigba.
No. Nope.
I mean, JSN might be older than Pickens. Pickens is 22 years old.
JSN is 21. They're a year younger. He's a year younger.
No, I mean, I haven't seen him do anything yet, but
he has not done anything yet. It is a pure, it's almost like getting traded in the first one. Like it honestly, a mid first is basically what.
No, not happening.
Okay. Okay. So if somebody offered you a mid 2024 first, you would not take it.
No.
Okay. All right. Let me see the next one. I don't think you do. Bryce Young.
No.
No.
I mean, it depends on who your team is. I got Lamar and Trevor. So why in the world would I take Bryce Young?
Okay. All right. Josh Jacobs.
No.
I know the running back is going to be instant now. The running backs
are. I traded away Josh Jacobs for multiple firsts, but also didn't think. I thought McDaniels was going to do a running back committee, and I was clearly wrong on that last year. So,
he did. Well, we thought he was
a historical amount of carries.
Last one I have. This is kind of interesting. Detroit, you think about from your team as well, and just in general, Kyler Murray. That's interesting. That is a think about it, at least. My God.
It's a think about it, but I guess it depends on who the team is too. If it is a super flex league and you need a QB, I think you're definitely doing that trade. And you might be doing that trade with Bryce Young too. If you need a QB, you probably are.
Definitely more so Kyler, I would think. Well, I don't know that.
Yeah,
I said that very quickly, but I would think
anytime I hear Kyler Murray's name, I just cannot stop picturing him in his sports bra in the preseason. Like, why is he wearing this? The only image of Kyler Murray that comes.
There's your next. There's your next.
That's it. That's the last one. Yeah, we got telemarketer dumbness and Kyler Murray sports bra. Yeah. The Detroit Kyler Murray.
Which Kyler Murray am I getting?
You're getting. I don't know. That's what comes with him. Because you don't know what offense you're getting with George Pickens either.
Well, coming from a guy that has no wide receivers on his team, I'm saying I'm keeping Pickens.
I would do it for Kyler Murray. I would send him away for Kyler Murray.
I'm just wondering, what is Pickens ranked on Dynasty?
All right, I got you. Don't you worry, buddy.
He's got to.
Don't you worry.
Up since the season started.
I got you here. He is right now the wide receiver. Oh man, you don't like it scrolling down. He is the wide receiver 22. He's up 7 spots. He is behind.
I'm looking at it now too.
So it goes.
T. Higgins at 20. 12th. Who's ranking this stuff?
There we go. We're really good with the edit button this week. T. Higgins is 20th. JSN is 21. Then you have Pickens at 22. Drake London at 23.
I guess, now that I think about it, as a super flex.
Yeah, super flex.
I think you do it for Kyler.
If you need the QB. I mean, Puka is ranked 12th. This blows my mind. He has been great. But
isn't it going off what he is currently, point-wise?
This
is wide receiver, dynasty wide receiver rankings. Justin Jefferson's 1.
If you would do a startup right now, where you would do it?
Oh. Well.
Amon Ra is number 4.
I don't like that.
The top 10 makes sense. The top 11 pretty much makes sense. But Puka at number 12 is blowing my mind. Cooper Kupp is number 14.
Yeah. Cooper Kupp is 30. That's the problem.
And that right there is a good thing to not listen to a lot of experts. JSN was by and far the top ranked receiver going into this offseason.
You didn't draft JSN for this year at all. You knew drafting
Yeah,
JSN.
what?
It wasn't for this year. You didn't draft JSN for this year.
That's what I know. And this is dynasty rankings, and Puka is
Oh, okay,
12,
so
and JSN is 21.
Right.
So
I
don't know.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I do. I think they have Puka too high. I will agree with you on that. Okay.
Zay Flowers is
I would still
19.
put, as what I've seen so far, I would definitely have Puka ahead of JSN.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
would
huge
right
gap.
now. I just think the 12th rank, I don't know. Drake London, 23. Drake London was the number one wide receiver by far last year.
I don't think
I
he'd
mean-
be my top 23.
I'm saying last year.
Everybody
Going
let's-
into the rookie
let's
draft,
just-
he was bound for.
We're not talking about Mr. London right now. Let's just.
That's a QB thing, though. I think I was watching some of the Falcons game. Drake London looked pretty good.
Every catch is a car crash
the
though,
end.
because he has to just get up and take it. Like he can't. It's like Pickens. Every catch looks like a highlight because he has to get up and get it. Okay. Moving along. We did the Puka, or we talked about Puka right there. Let's skip around. Are any of you bought in on either one of the Cardinals running backs? For me, it's a completely avoid situation unless I have to. This injury.
Yeah.
The what?
Yeah.
Oh,
The Cardinals running backs. Ingram was named the start. Well, I don't think he was named the starter. I think the depth chart.
He is
Yeah, CNBC, disclose your position. Yes.
Yeah, no, I have him. But he's also been out the past 2 weeks. So
Yes.
everybody picking up this other guy, which I don't even care about because I have Keontae. I am interested to see what he does. I'm clearly not starting him this week, but I would think one of them's going to come out and play pretty well because James Conner, I thought he was going to die like 5 years ago, and he continues to play well. So I think one of them will be all right. Hopefully it's Keontae.
I just think that this is not, and I don't, in fairness, I haven't heard anybody say this, but I don't think this is a Jerome Ford situation because I think that James Conner was the driving force behind the success and not the scheme. And who, I mean, he did look good when he came in, but I'm kind of staying hands off. All right, we're moving along here because our discussions ran over a little bit. The Sunday night game.
I'm tired of this. Tired of talking about
this game. Okay, there's only one takeaway I have from this game, and this is a little bit of this is the last Brett's big brain thing of this. We need to change the way we look at fit and how we analyze like the person's situation. Because to me, I think situation should be factored in just as much as any intangible. So, like, you see that clip going around, Brock Purdy struggling at Iowa State, the clips of him, messing up. It was a very famous or a very viral tweet that went around this week after the Sunday night performance. This is the same guy, Mr. Irrelevant, that now is lighting up the NFL because the situation is a huge deal. When I say the situation is a huge deal, I'm not saying that Brock Purdy isn't great. I'm saying I look at situations the same way I would look at something like arm strength or accuracy or speed, whatever like that. And I feel like we're too dismissive with it when it's a huge deal because you know who else is benefiting greatly from their situation who wasn't originally? Tua. Tua is benefiting massively from a head coach switch and some weapon upgrades. And now he's a front MVP. So I think we just need to rework, like, it's like saying, to me, the situation's like saying, imagine if Chad Pennington had a rocket arm, what it could be, because he was so accurate. Imagine if he added that. Obviously, one's way more changing than the other and can be way more affected by outside sources. I get that. Like, it's not that literal, but I'm saying I just want to rewrite how we look at situation and stop using it as a knock and use it as factored into the outlook on the player. Is basically what I'm saying. That's my soapbox. Had that ready to go. Feel good about it.
Good job. That game's been overanalyzed. I'm tired of talking about the Cowboys and the Niners. Niners are great. We get it. Yes, they're the best team.
I
in
get the
NFL.
fear though. This is peaking so early. It's not peaking. It might be peaking.
You cut me off. I was getting ready to say,
yeah. Sorry.
We're only 5 games in. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things change during the NFL season. What if Brock Purdy goes down? What if a couple of players go down? You just don't know.
Yeah.
So, let's settle down. Yes, they're the best team right now. That's obvious.
That's clear. Right.
But
now I have a fun hypothetical that was from Superfan Keith. Superfan Keith did not get a mention last episode, I don't think. So now he gets one this episode. It's been too long.
Sorry, Keith.
I
Try to
just did
avoid
that
talking
whole
about your
thing.
rankings.
I just did that whole thing. We did tear down his whole team and trade everybody away. I just did that whole thing on situation. This is a funny hypothetical he posed to me. What do you think is the worst starting quarterback right now in the NFL that Shanahan could do this with?
Oh, now we got to talk about how great Shanahan is again.
Man, it's just
Another
interesting.
another thing in the chats, it just drives me nuts. I don't know.
Mac
What's
Jones?
the worst quarterback?
I mean, that Mac Jones has been talked about with San Francisco for a while.
Yes.
Because that's who they traded up for, supposedly.
Yep.
Probably. I mean, I would just Zach Wilson. I'll say Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson was one that was brought up.
I'm just going to say there's no quarterback he can't turn into a winner.
Oh, God. I said no to Daniel Jones because he'd get him hurt. If you give Kyle Shanahan a running quarterback, he'll get him hurt. You know, he needs a stationary guy.
So you don't think Justin
the question
Fields
was who he cannot get.
No, who he can. What's the lowest one you think he can? If you think he can with Zach Wilson, then that would probably be the lowest one that you think he could.
I don't even know.
Can he pick it?
He's a genius. He can do everything.
Oh my God, this guy.
I'm starting to get a little annoyed by them too, though. But November, stay undefeated until November 12th.
Yeah,
I want that.
Do we have anything that we want to? Do we have anything that we want to talk about the Monday night game? I think it's a complete throwaway. I didn't take anything away from that. I didn't care anything.
Just
about
to know, I'll take away that Josh McDaniels is such a dumbass. He doesn't know how to tank, or it's not even him. It's the Raiders in general.
I think that roster's too good to tank.
You beat the Broncos. Why? How is it too good? Have you been watching the games? They can't score 20 points. They're what is Jimmy G? Is Jimmy G too good to be great?
Wait.
No, he sucks. He won't play. He's soft as can be. It's just I don't know. Tank. Okay, good for them if they go 6-11. Good for them and bring Josh.
No, I don't think they'll go 6-11. I think they'll get like max at 4 to 5 wins.
So what the hell are you saying they're too good to tank? If
tanking is 2 to 3 wins to me.
What is the point in winning 4 or 5 games?
There's a point. I mean, it's not. You're not going to get grown men to tank. They're playing for their jobs. The actual players aren't going to tank.
I'm not saying them. I'm saying the coaching staff.
Why? You want to tank yourself out of a job?
I mean, what are the Patriots and Vikings doing right now? They're not tanking.
The guy with the rookie head coach that's got great offensive stats and the greatest coach of all time, I think they feel pretty secure in their roles. Josh McDaniels is on the hot seat up.
Overrated.
Which one?
If the plan is to tank for a QB, if that is the plan, then that's a pretty good plan to keep your job.
Well, yeah. I get what you're saying, but the draft is also deep enough that if you win 4 to 5, you'll have a QB there. You might have
so he's going to keep his job if he wins 4 or 5 games.
I don't know.
A coach to keep their job if they win 4 or 5 games.
I think he's the bottom 5 coach in the league by far. I've been on this train. Oh well, I'm getting turned around as a McDaniel apologist now. All of a sudden, I've had the guy forever. He's a cheat.
Like,
I was kind of hoping we'd avoid this conversation, but
I mean, it's a good topic to bring up. Okay, there we go. Good discussion, boys. Some nice thought-provoking discussions this week. But now we have to flip it because we had pretty wild week 5 in the KDFL. And we're going to start with our rundown and we're going to flow into the week 6 predictions. But let's go through week 5 first. Matt is going to start us off with the Midnight Riders and the Gamblers.
Okay. We start out across Vegas. Midnight Riders travel to take on the Gamblers. Midnight Riders start out with a strong performance from Mr. 5-6-24, Justin Fields, scoring 37 points, along with 22-mile-per-hour Tyreek Hill having another great performance, scoring 32 points. The Gamblers also started out Thursday night with a monster performance from DJ Moore, scoring 49 points. However, the Gamblers bench, 29-point Falcons great Desmond Ridder in favor of Mac Jones and Marvin Mims, who combined for -5 points. Midnight Riders easily win this one, 277 to 214. Riders go to 3-2. Gamblers fall to 1-4.
Next, we have the Dogtown Dobermans heading over to Hurricane to play the Wampus Cats. Both
Wampus
teams
Cats.
are 2-2, trying to get over 500. Dogtown Dobermans are led by Josh Allen with 29 points, Joe Burrow 26, Fred Warner 27. Wampus Cats get a huge game out of Zach Moss, as we touched on earlier, with 33, but got a whopping minus 0.06 points from Sam Darnold. Just did not get any other production anywhere else. Dogtown Dobermans take it to go 3-2, 277 to 226.
All right, we go to Wake Forest next, where the 3-1 Lumberjacks are hosting the 1-3 Zen Masters. Sam Howell starts the Lumberjacks off hot on Thursday night with 26 points in the second half. Resurgence. Unchained Breece Hall, as predicted on this very podcast, led all scorers in this one with 28 of his own. Devon Achane even gave his left knee for the Lumberjacks with 22 points, but it wasn't enough. As George, you have to trade me a wide receiver over 6 feet tall for me to consider it. Pickens scores 27 for the Zen Masters, and they win as this guy, and only this guy, predicted 239 to 205.
239 is big. Winless Mega Powers travel to Kanawha County to take on the Kings. Mega Powers have a nice Sunday morning breakfast watching Calvin Ridley score 21 points in London, but the Kings do the same, with ETN scoring 36 points out of that game. Unfortunately for the Mega Powers, Anthony Richardson goes down early and puts a damper on the entire team as no one else performed. Kings get a huge performance from Brock MVP Purdy. No moral victory this week for the Mega Powers as the Kings crushed their soul, winning 286 to 178. Melbourne needs to go find their power somewhere as they fall to 0-5. Kings go to 2-3.
Next, my Elkview River Rats try to avoid a 2-game losing streak as they take on the undefeated Roxalana Renegades. Renegades get big performances out of Tua and David Montgomery, as my team had 12 out of the – how many starters we have in this league? 17?
19.
19. 12 out of the 19 players scored under 10 points, setting a season low for my team, scoring only 180 and lose 252 to 180.
And finally, the wrap up week 5, we have our 2022 KDFL Championship rematch with the Evil Empire visiting St. Albans and the Sinners. And on Sunday morning, Mr. Temper Tantrum Diggs leads the way for the Sinners with 26 points. Jalen Hurts shoves his way to 27 points for the Evil Empire, but it is the combining for 6 touchdowns and over 75 points. Jamar Chase and George Kittle put the Evil Empire over the top with a big statement win as history repeats itself. Evil Empire beats the Sinners 309 to 217, and that is it for your KDFL week 5. All right, so fellas, if we look at how we did, throw it up on the board now. Our predictions. I went 5-1. We all missed on the beautiful Mega Powers. Very sad to say. It's a scary time right now in Melbourne. You both went 4-2. So Detroit improves to 21-9, still has a lead. Me at 18-12, and Matt at 17-30. NFL bets, one dog won. Matt with the Bears over the Commanders. So that's 3 points coming his way. And then one lock won. And that was my theory that we're going to roll with again this week. You'll see later in the show the bet that makes you feel the grossest. The Bengals cover -3. And the Stealing Money parlay hit this week to improve to 2-3 on the season. Okay, so let's roll right along from week 5 right into week 6. Okay, we are going to start in Hurricane with the Wampus Cats at 2-3, hosting the 5-0 Renegades. Now, with the Sinners losing to the Evil Empire that we just went over, the Renegades are now the last undefeated team in the KDFL and from the desk of the commissioner, I have some lovely undefeated stats. The last time, do you guys want to guess the last time a team went undefeated and won the championship? Or the last team that was undefeated went on to win the championship? It's happened 3 times.
In this league? Not
in
in the
this
past
very
5
league.
years. Right?
I was going to say 2000.
That is correct. 2000 what?
But
18?
I said 19, but
no,
more.
didn't happen.
Yep. Why does Matt know that? Because the Zen Masters were 7-0 in 2019. They ended up finishing third. Yeah. It happened with the first year with the Evil Empire going undefeated. It happened the second year with the Dobermans being the last ones to lose at 5-0. And the last time it happened, 2016, the Mega Powers were the last undefeated team to fall. You want to know what that record was? 3-0, baby.
Wow.
So that is the stats. Of course, last year the Dobermans rallied to go 9-0, but they ended up finishing fourth. So not a lot of positive stats, unless you say with the Renegades, they're due. So that stat could be due. So let's turn our attention to this week and this game. Let's see here. I'm going to have Detroit kick us off. Something that stands out to you and your prediction for this game.
All right. When I was looking at this matchup, I think one player from the Renegades I'm going to watch is David Montgomery. Surprise, surprise for the Lions. Going against Tampa's defense. Right now, they have a top 10 rushing defense. So it's going to be an interesting matchup for the Wampus Cats. Kenneth Walker against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are the second worst team against the run. So that's going to be an interesting matchup for them. I don't like a lot of these matchups for the Wampus Cats. I think the Renegades have too much power, so I'm taking them this week.
I was thinking I'm looking for Renegades matchups. The Renegades matchups, just looking at the whole thing, is too good this week. One thing I'm wondering is DeAndre Swift the official workhorse in Philadelphia now? I know he had that huge Thursday game. Are the other guys gone, or are they not doing much?
Yeah, game
is that going
to
continue?
Yeah, right.
For the Wampus Cats, does Zach Moss, does he stay relevant? We talked about that a little bit earlier. And what does that do with Jonathan Taylor coming back? And then is Herbert okay with the finger? I don't know. That finger looks pretty bad. It's a left hand, but still, I mean, he's still got the questionable tag. I don't see him not playing. But how well can he play? Because he could not be in shotgun at the end of that Raiders game. I mean, he could only be in shotgun at the end of that Raiders game. Yeah. So right. I don't know. I think the matchups are too good for the Renegades. Renegades stay undefeated. Beat the Wampus Cats.
Look at this. Yeah, the projections are actually, it looks a little bit closer than what I would have expected. It's only a 20-point spread, which in this league, 20 points is practically nothing. The main thing I'm looking at, though, Garrett Wilson against that Philly secondary. We wrote Garrett Wilson off as dead, but Zach Wilson has looked better the last couple of weeks. He's also played a little bit softer with the Broncos, who everybody seems to take advantage of. But can Garrett Wilson take advantage of the somewhat vulnerable Eagles secondary? But I agree with you too. It's a consensus. We are going with the Renegades to improve to 6-0. Next, we are going to the reigning champion in South Hills. It's the Evil Empire hosting the Kanawha County Kings. Both teams at 2-3. Detroit, take it away.
Yeah, well, I was looking at matchups for this. One I really am interested in watching is Brock Purdy going against the Browns, who have only played the 4 games because they had a bye last week. But the Browns have the number 1 defense, the number 1 pass defense, and the number 4 rushing defense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against the Niners at home. For the Evil Empire, looks like they're getting Austin Eckler back. I'm going to watch that, see if he plays like 70% or whatever. They just had too much firepower. So sorry, Kings, not going to be good. Evil Empire continue the run 3 straight.
Yeah, Evil Empire looks to be back fully healthy. But I was wondering, is Austin Eckler going to play a lot this week? Who knows? First time back in a while. I'm assuming he does play. the Kings, can Olave bounce back? I see he still has a questionable tag too. Josh Jacobs, he needs to get back into his 2022 form. I know he scored like 16 or something last week, but he has not been the same guy at all. The teams do not respect the Raiders. I don't know. They made one big change. I don't know what that could have been, but Josh Jacobs is not that respected. They are. I mean, they are going after him. He does not have the room that he had last year. Evil Empire, they're going to win this pretty easily.
The Kings are coming off a humongous scoring effort against my lonely winless Mega Powers. The main thing I'm interested to see here, Jordan Addison, Jefferson's out of the picture. They're still saying KJ Osborne is going to fill in the Jefferson role and Addison's going to stay where he is, but I don't think that means the targets will stay that way. I think it's going to be Addison having a big game. It is against the Chicago D, which is not very good at all. So I'm looking to see how many if Addison can really, he most needs to near double that 13-point projection for the Kings to have a chance. I do think he'll have a good game. I do not, however, think the Kings have a chance. Give me the Evil Empire in this one. All right. So next we are going to go the Midnight Riders, another team that's been surging as of late, hosting the coming off a win, Nakati Zen Masters, Detroit. Take it away.
Yeah, for the Zen Masters, Matt, I'm looking at your boy James Cook this week. Can he get more than 5 carries? That would be key for you. Looking at the Midnight Riders, they did lose Jefferson. Looks like they got Jeff Wilson in their lineup this week. I'm going to be interested to see Justin Fields again. Can he continue this 30-point games he's done back-to-back? So that's the matchup I'm looking for there. I think the Midnight Riders win. Going to be kind of easy. No offense.
Yeah, the young guys are starting to show up for the Zen Masters. We've won 2 of our last 3, 240 points last week. Would have beaten a good amount of the teams, so a little more confident with the team, with the very young team that's starting to come through. George Pickens is off this week. That's a big blow for me. But I'm looking to see this matchup. I don't know if Rashawn Johnson is going to play. He's coming off concussion. He has not practiced yet this week, so he might be out. But also Keontae Ingram, we talked about him earlier. Just want to see if either one of them show a little bit of promise given the major role of the RB1 and on their team. But Midnight Riders, I mean, they got ridiculous wide receivers. They got Kyron Williams, who's been dominating for the Rams. I agree with Detroit. It's not going to be very close. Midnight Riders win this one.
The weird thing that I have to look at, I mean, those are amazing things to look out for. An interesting thing about Justin Fields, I'm wondering if Jefferson going out, this is going to sound weird, Jefferson going out has an impact on Fields being able, like if Minnesota slows down a lot with Jefferson out, they don't keep the fast track. It could affect Fields' ability to have to keep up and push the points. But the main thing I'm looking at, we talked about on the breakdown of the games, Lamar had a big letdown, some of himself, most of it on his team with the drops. He only had 10 points last week with the travel and Tennessee, but Tennessee has a good rush defense, not a good pass defense. I want to see if Lamar can exceed projections of 22 for himself, but I too have the Midnight Riders getting the win and moving to 4-2. All right, we're going to go to Wake Forest next, and they are hosting the Cross Vegas Gamblers, Detroit.
Yeah, the note that I have, I actually talked about a little bit earlier. I want to see Adam Thielen against Miami. I feel like that game's going to get out of hand. So I feel like Carolina is going to be throwing the ball. For the Wake Forest Lumberjacks, I have no Achane. That's a big loss for them. Guys, what's that guy averaging? Like 20 yards a carry or something? Ridiculous.
I think it's 13, I think.
That's insane.
Legitimately.
Even though this is only like a 10-point spread, man, I think Matt touched on this earlier. I'm just not a fan of the Gamblers, even though they're the favorite. I somehow believe the Lumberjacks are going to pull this one out.
Yeah, I've been pretty hard on the Gamblers this year. I think I ranked them last. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of room to talk, but I would say I'm sorry, but I think I'm right on this. The Gamblers team is not good. They're Adam Thielen. They are. He is he's saving them some grace, but I don't think many people predicted that this year. DJ Moore needs another 50-point game. See how he does against the Vikings. But I mean, I guess this could come down to Desmond Ritter. How good's he going to do versus B. John or however you say his name, Robinson. I would put that more towards the Falcons running backs. And I mean, the Lumberjacks, they got amazing rookies. So Say Flowers, Puka. I'm sticking with the Lumberjacks. Lumberjacks won this one.
Look, it's pretty obvious what I'm looking for in this game. We're starting Desmond Ritter. He's got an easier opponent with Washington at home. He's a different animal at home. We'll see if it can repeat. All eyes are going to be on this because he showed the flash. We'll see what happens. I don't really care about the outcome of this 1-4 versus 3-2 matchup in the KDFL. Give me more Ritter. Give me more Bijan. Let's see what happens. But for this purposes, the Lumberjacks are stumping me. I get it. It's the rookies. They're going great. He's made me look like an idiot multiple weeks. And shout out to the future special guest host, the original host, Mr. Phil Ruxey will be on the pod next week, and he can laugh in my face as I pick the Gamblers to up. They're projected ahead. I can't call this an upset or not. I pick the Gamblers to beat the Lumberjacks. It got me all flustered up. All right. The Lumberjacks got me all flustered up. I don't know it from down anymore. But moving along, the Sinners, coming off a loss at 4-1, are hosting some would say surging after two back-to-back big performances, the Dogtown Dobermans. This is by far our closest projection of the week with just a point in between right now. Detroit, what say you on this matchup?
Yeah, this is only a 1-point spread, as everyone can see there. I'm looking forward to CMC going against the Browns' #1 defense. I was looking at McCaffrey stats last week because that's all everybody talked about was the Niners get the Cowboys. You know, he had 9 carries for only 51 yards. That's only a 2.7 average. Didn't realize that. Want to see if he's going to, have a big game like he has. But that's the big matchup I'm looking at there. As for the centers, I like Cousins a lot this week. He is the number 3 ranked quarterback. Shout out to you, Keith. Your boy's looking good. I'm going to have to go with the Dobermans this week. Projected, he's only projected by 1 point, and we all know projections are just for clowns. So even with that, I'm still going with the Dobermans.
I think I mentioned last week I don't love the Sinners team. I'm looking at them now. I mean, what's Kirk Cousins going to do without Justin Jefferson? He'll probably still be fine, but I don't know. The team, I don't love it. Just looking, but just look at the Dogtown Dobermans. Is Joe Burrow officially back after last week's performance? Josh Allen, I think he's going to have a big game against the Giants after that pitiful performance against the Jaguars. We talked about Kamara earlier, and CMC's on a whole different level right now. I think the Dobermans win this one.
Right, back-to-back teams that have made me have egg on my face all during these projections. I think the Lumberjacks and the Sinners make up over half my losses in the picks. The big thing I want to see from this game, Javonte Williams is back, and it's supposed to be an increased role. I want to see how much they live up to that because the McLaughlin guy looked decent when he got some snaps last week in Javonte Williams' absence. But for me, I have to go with the Dobermans and the firepower at quarterback, and I think I give them the slight edge defensively as well. So give me the Dobermans. Now, we wrap it up with the main rivalry in the KDFL. This is by far the weakest the Mega Powers have been going into this said rivalry. So I don't want to hear any crap. Give me a game of the week at 0-5. It'll probably be the last time I visit this daggone illustrious game of the week circle this season. It's Ohio State, Michigan. It's Duke, North Carolina. It's Android and iPhone. It's the River Rats and the Mega Powers. The River Rats and the Mega Powers. Go Pixel, go. Matt, you pick this one first.
You gonna change the screen?
No, I'm too jacked up. I forget I'm sharing sometimes. Thank you. There we go. Apologies.
231 for an 0-5 team.
It's almost like we've got unlucky.
You'd say. I don't know. Last week scoring 178. I don't know how unlucky you can get there.
Quarterback.
You got the great Deshaun Watson playing the 49ers. That will be interesting to see. Is Deshaun ever going to have a big? But what's his scoring been so far? What's the highest game he's had this year?
His issue is he might not play.
Well, what has he had? It's like if we looked at Lamar. What's Watson's biggest game?
Watson did not play week 4, so he's had a 20, an 11, and a 23.
He's had a 23. Okay, so I mean he's rested.
Tennessee.
You got Jerome Ford too. So Browns. Let's see the Browns versus 49ers, how they come out and do. That's the biggest thing it's going to be for the Mega Powers. That's rough to make that be your biggest thing. We got the amazing Derek Carr coming back for the River Rats. He looked good last week. I don't care what one of these hosts on here says. He barely watched the game. And Dameon Pierce, I don't think Damien's going to do anything against the greatest defense that maybe since the 2000 Ravens. Man, just looking at the River Rats. I mean, if anything makes me zen in the world is looking at these two teams right here compared to my roster.
It's awful.
Man, looking at I'm trying to call out some names for the River Rats. It's a little tough. The great, you got to love the two tight end combination of Darren Waller and Evan Ingram going right there. That's usually a strong team when you got two tight ends starting. I think I'm going to have to go. They're getting their first win the first win of the season. The Melbourne Mega Powers getting the W.
Good, Detroit.
Thank you for that. That was nice, Matt.
Great breakdown. Phenomenal breakdown.
It was phenomenal. I felt like I was at a roast. The Mega Powers, looking at your matchups, what stands up to me is Watson and Ford. Like Matt said, going against the Niners. I don't like that matchup for you. Look at my team. Man, it's bad. I lost Matt Milano, one of my best linebackers. I mean, that's a big hurt. No Christian Watson this week.
No Jordan Love. What are you going to do?
Jameer Gibbs.
There we go.
Time. He's going to be out again. The only thing I do like is Mostert. He's going to be getting a lot more carries. But man, it's not looking good for me, guys. I have to have run. Look at my wide receivers. I only start 2 wide receivers, a rookie and Rondale Moore. That's bad. It's awful. Mike Williams went down for me, so that hurt. I did hear that Rondale Moore is going to get some carries in the backfield this week.
He did last week, yeah.
So, with all that said, it just does not look good. But I hate to do it. Brett, I am taking – wait. What is that? Oh, wait, I got 3 words for you. Why my team's going to win. 3 words. Derek freaking Carr. Give me the River Rats. We're taking it down.
I love the whole pitch. Deshaun Watson. Look at this matchup. Deshaun Watson might not play, but the Mega Powers in their ever craftiness read the tea leaves, read the Twitter sphere. PJ Walker is going to get the start if Watson doesn't play. It's not DTR. And the Mega Powers spent heftily. How you know you're 0-5? When you have to spend a lot of money to get PJ Walker, a $35 bid when no one else bid a single dollar. That's how we're operating in the 0-5 town in Melbourne right now. The main thing I'm looking for, though, yes, it is a terrible matchup versus the 49ers. But it is Devontae Smith's turn. I've studied the Eagles profusely now, and they seem to be a cyclical team with who gets the work for any given week. It'll be Hurts. It'll be A.J. Brown. Not this week. It'll be Devontae Smith. And with all that being said, if there is a game that an 0-5 Mega Powers team can get up for, it is the bright lights of the game of the week. It's the River Rats. So give me the Mega Powers to get the victory and get on the board, because don't look now. After this, we have the Zen Masters, and I believe we have the Gamblers. So 3 and 5 could be on the horizon if we win this game. Just not dead yet. If they lose this game, deader than a doornail.
I have to say this.
Pick after that last comment.
I have to say this. I really wish we would have played each other last week. The final score.
Oh, the 180, the 170, the 180. There's been a
180 to 177.
Real quick, I mean, I'm not playing the violin, but I'm 0-5. 4 of those games, my opponent has scored over 265 points, and the one game they didn't, I got stat corrected and lost. So it's not, I mean, we haven't exactly been filling up the offensive side, but we haven't got one of those ugly wins yet either. So I'm just saying. All right, that's it for your KDFL Week 6 predictions. Now we're gonna sign off here. Detroit, we go to Detroit first. Give us your lock and your dog and whatever horrible thing you have to say to sign off with.
Yeah, I've been yelled at. I've been screamed at for doing my little disclaimer every week before we do this.
Jesus Christ, no way.
I'm not going to do it. Originally, I was going to go with the Texans over the Saints with 1.5, but I've changed my mind during the show. I want the Chargers getting 2.5 against the Cowboys. And my upset, I'm going to get laughed at for this. I'm taking the Jets against the Eagles. Give it to me.
There you go.
And so,
all right.
Oh, Brett, you suck.
Yeah, thanks.
Like, since you weren't doing it.
No, he's not doing the dumb gambling disclaimer.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
But he's still kind of dead.
I'll do it. Save your money. Don't spend money.
Oh, my God.
Be peaceful. Be zen. Anyway, that's it. Spend all your money. I don't care. Do whatever. Lock of the week. Saints minus 1.5 over the Texans. Another disrespectful score. Disrespect for under. They're going to win by 10 probably. So Saints easily beating the Texans this week. And then the dog, I want to do it for the second straight week now. I know it's a low spread, but whatever. The Bears are going to win again. Fields will have another good game. They're going to beat the struggling Vikings. Vikings don't want to win. Bears get the victory. 2 straight victories. Sign off. I don't have a beautiful Zen speech tonight. I'm tired, cranky.
Show the hoodie.
Apologies. Oh, there we go. Positive vibes only.
Yes.
Keep that as your. There you go. Good night, everyone.
Hey, how about this? The whole time we were still sharing the screen. So Mega Powers and River Rat stayed up there. And now, since it's my beautiful face on the screen, we are going to go back to, since my beautiful face talking, we're going to go back full screen. Look, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. But for my lock of the week, I've been taking the line that makes me feel the most awful. And this week it is the Bucks getting 3 at home creamsicle game against the Lions. I think the Lions should pretty much handle business, but the Bucks are coming off a bye. It is a creamsicle game. I don't love it, but that's what's been winning for me in my bad brain. So let me get the Bucks +3. My upset, London games get crazy. The Ravens seem a little out of flux. Tennessee tends to play people difficult. So just give me the Titans outright beating the Ravens. And the stealing money parlay. This week, the Colts always play the Jacks tough. This one scares me a little bit, but I'm going to do Colts +14.5. And the Dolphins defense is terrible. So let me get the Panthers +24.5. And then the game that really scares me here, again, it really scares me, on a short week, traveling to the East Coast, give me the Niners getting, it's not the East Coast, by the way, the East side. Give me the Niners getting 3.5. I think if they lose, it'll still only be by a field goal. Parlay those bad boys up, you get -130. So for Jonathan Detroit Haynes, for the Zenful, Positive Vibes Only, Matt Smith, I'm Brett Steele, and we will see you here next week on the KDFL Dynasty Football